Welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of Letters to Air. I'm Q.
And I'm Dee. As always, we're here to honor your time, share our truths, and hopefully inspire you to live in yours. Today's episode is called Trauma Truths. Untangle, Realign, and Unlock, because healing starts with understanding.
Healing isn't easy, but it's necessary. And it's not about moving past what happened. It's about understanding how it shaped you and how you can free yourself from those patterns.
That's right. We're going to talk about ways trauma influences our thoughts, our choices, and our relationships. But more importantly, we're here to talk about how to heal, how to untangle those knots, realign with who you really are, and unlock the life you deserve.
So grab your tea, your journal, and your tissues. This one's about to get real.
Let's start with the basics. Trauma isn't just what happens to you. It's what happens inside you as a result of what you've experienced. It's the emotional, mental, and physical residue that gets left behind.
And let's be clear, trauma doesn't always come from big, obvious events. It can be subtle. It can come from growing up in a household where love was conditional or where you just felt unseen. It can come from societal pressures, microaggressions, or just being a Black woman in spaces that weren't built for you.
Exactly. And if it's not addressed, it shows up in everything. How you think, how you react, and how you relate to others.
Now let's get specific, Dee. For Caribbean women like us, there are layers of trauma that come from traditions reinforced by the women in our own families. Let's talk about it.
For me, I spent years in survival mode without even realizing it. Growing up, I felt like I always had to be on. I had to be the fixer, the achiever, the one who held everything together. But that kind of pressure takes a toll. I didn't know how to ask for help, and I didn't know how to rest. It wasn't until I started therapy that I realized those patterns weren't serving me anymore. I was holding on to habits that helped me survive as a kid, but they were suffocating me as an adult. Letting go of that need to be everything for everyone, that's what set me free.
Girl, the layers in that, and that bias starts at home too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Growing up in a Caribbean household, there were rules, unspoken but reinforced daily. Women were expected to take care of everything, the house, the cooking, the cleaning. Rest? Forget about it. I remember being told, you don't get to sleep in. You're not a man. Even if we were on our periods, feeling drained, there was no sympathy, no nurturing. You just kept going. And that stayed with me for a long time. I didn't know how to slow down or give myself grace because I was never taught how to do that.
It's survival mode. We're taught to just keep going, even at the expense of our own well-being.
Right. And it's not our fault. They were taught the same thing. It's generational. But that kind of upbringing leaves you in survival mode. You grow up thinking your worth is tied to how much you do for others, and you never stop to ask, what about me?
Yes, that part. It's like we were expected to be machines, constantly working, never resting, never being pampered. And the worst part, these traditions were reinforced by the women, not men, the women in our lives. Our mothers, aunts, grandmothers, they believed this was how it had to be.
For me, it started when I realized I was exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. I was always the strong one, always the fixer, but inside I felt invisible. Therapy helped me see that I was carrying patterns that weren't mine to carry. I had to let go of the need to prove my worth through doing. And let me tell you, learning to rest was revolutionary.
Let me tell you about my childhood, D. My parents were strict. Monday through Friday was all about school, no distractions, no excuses. Saturday, that was chores, and Sundays, church. But here's the kicker. On Sunday afternoons, sometimes my parents would take a nap. We as kids were allowed to nap too, not because we needed rest, but so we couldn't make noise and disturb their peace. It wasn't about nurturing us, it was about maintaining order.
Wow. So even rest was something you had to earn, and it wasn't really about you?
Exactly. I didn't realize how much that structure impacted me until I became an adult. I struggled to rest even when I needed it. I always felt like I had to be doing something otherwise. I wasn't being useful, and don't get me started on how hard it was to let go of the guilt whenever I tried to slow down.
Let's talk about the healing process, because it's not a straight line. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and sometimes it feels like you're going backward, but it's worth it.
Step one is awareness. You can't heal what you don't acknowledge. Start by asking yourself, what patterns am I repeating? Where am I holding pain?
Step two is finding tools that work for you. Therapy was a game changer for me. I learned techniques like tapping, journaling, and brain spotting to process my emotions and release what I was holding on to.
Same. Meditation and mindfulness helped me reconnect with my body and stay present. And let's not forget the power of community. Having a support system makes all the difference.
And step three is giving yourself grace. Healing isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. Celebrate every step, no matter how small.
All right, here's your challenge for the week. Take one step toward healing. Maybe it's journaling about a pattern you've noticed. Maybe it's scheduling that therapy appointment you've been putting off. Or maybe it's just giving yourself permission to rest. Whatever it is, start small, but start.
And if you feel comfortable, share your step with us. DM us, email us, tag us on social media, y'all. We're here to cheer you on. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
All right, let's close it out with our reflection. To I, air, and her.
To I, this week, I've learned that rest is not a reward, it's a necessity. To air, I hope for a future where women are nurtured, valued, and free to just be. To her, the version of me who struggled, I've grown by learning that I don't have to carry outdated expectations. I'm allowed to celebrate my own rules.
Take this with you. Healing doesn't mean forgetting or erasing your past. It means owning your story, finding your strength, and unlocking your freedom. You got this, babe.
Until next time, stay soft, stay strong, and keep unlocking your truth.
And remember, you are not your trauma. You are your healing.